Welcome to another Mr. Paul video. We are on 2.1, integer exponents. This time we're talking about rule number 5, the power of product property, the power of a product property. Well, let's break down what it actually is saying. The power, meaning the power, of a product, meaning two things that are being multiplied together. I don't expect you to remember the names, but sometimes it helps. Now, what this is saying is if I have two things being multiplied together, remember ab to the n equals a to the n, b to the n. A, b, n, m, all of these are just numbers. When I use a and b, we're talking about two separate numbers. Two separate numbers being multiplied together, raised to a power. I can rewrite that as a to the n, b to the n. The first number to this power multiplied by the second number to that power. This is most commonly used when dealing with variables, things that you can't already multiply together here. So this typically is going to be a number, and this typically is going to be a variable. But the variables represent numbers. So let me just illustrate what I mean. Let's just say that this is 3x raised to the fourth power. Let's just say that this is what it is. I have two things being multiplied together. Remember, x represents some number. I don't know what it is. It's a variable, but it's still a number. Two numbers being multiplied together, raised to a power. What this is allowing me to do is rewrite it as a to the n, b to the n. Well, a in this case is 3. So I can rewrite this as 3 to the n. Now, n is 4. And b to the n, b is x, right? So x to the fourth, x to the fourth. And this is helpful because I know what 3 to the fourth is. I know what 3 to the fourth is. This is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, right? 4 threes. And then I could simplify that even more, but that's not what today's video is about. If you wanted to see what this actually was, say you did solve it, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times the fourth 3 is 81. This would be 81x to the fourth. But how do we get to this? What exactly allows this to turn into this? Okay, let me get back to here. I'm going to erase this. I'm going to erase this because today's video is not about solving. Today's video is just about how does that particular property work. Remember, the exponent tells me how many times I got to multiply this stuff together, right? I'm multiplying this by itself 4 times. So let's write out, what would that look like? Well, 3x, so I'm saying 3x times, right? I'm going to use the dots this time because I already have x's, times 3x times 3x times 3x. I have 4 of them, right? 3x, 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 3x. Now, when two numbers are next to each other, it basically means you're multiplying them together. So we could also think of this as 3 times x times 3 times x times 3 times x times 3 times x. I haven't changed anything super crazy. All I'm remembering is that when two numbers are next to each other in math, that means to multiply them. I'm not actually going to multiply them together. I just know that they're supposed to. I also remember in math, 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2. 1 times 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2 times 1. It doesn't matter what order I multiply things in as long as they're all being multiplied, right? According to PEMDAS, it shouldn't matter which order I multiply things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply all of my 3's together. I'm going to say I want my 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 to get multiplied first. And then I will multiply my x times my x times my x times my x. Well, according to repeated multiplication, the way to simplify that is using exponents. 3 being multiplied together by itself 4 times is 3 to the 4th. And then I'm multiplying that by 4 x's, right? But I'm not going to say 4 times x because it still follows the exponent properties. There are 4 x's, so it's still x to the 4th. This is the same thing as this. That is what allows us to do this. Okay? Let's do a couple of examples before we go on to the next video. Suppose I have 6y squared. 6y squared. I'm allowed to rewrite that. I have two things being multiplied together, both, right, indicated by the parentheses, raised to the second power. I'm allowed to rewrite it as a to the n, b to the n. So if this is my a and this is my b, this is my n. A to the n would be 6 squared times y squared, because this is my b and my n. Okay? I could simplify further. 6 times 6 is 36, but I'm going to do that. Let's save that for another video. Let's just say we have, 10z to the 6th. 10z to the 6th. According to my rule, I have two things being multiplied together. This is a product. This is the power of the product. Power of the product. I'm allowed to rewrite it as 10 to the 6th times z to the 6th. And one last one for good measure. Let's do a negative this time. 2x to the negative 3 can be rewritten as 2 to the negative 3 times x to the negative 3. You could think of it as giving this exponent to both of those things being multiplied inside the parentheses. That's all for today's video. Peace.